Sweet. All right.
What happened to all of our other bodies?
I don't know, they disappeared.
All right. Okay. First thing we're going to work on here is some D-line technique, D-line fundamentals, some daily drills that we do. Okay. So we're going to start. First, we're going to start off working hands. I feel like if we want to get off of blocks, especially at the high school level, hands is something that teams are really struggling with, using, that kind of stuff. But it's probably the best thing that you can get developed in your guys in order to start getting off blocks and things like that. Okay, so our first drill we like to do, we do this every single day with our defensive line. Okay, get on your knees. Get on your knees, stay simple. Okay, go ahead and hold those juniors there. Okay, so we do kind of a three punch and strike drill. It's really easy, good warm up. We get our guys acting kind of dumb and hit each other really hard, that kind of stuff like you want them to do. Okay, so you're gonna put your hands down. You're gonna put your hands just like this. You're gonna be the punching dummy. Okay, we always talk about attacking half a man with our defensive line. Okay, like we talked about, I talked about in that session here, we don't have dudes that are going to be bigger, stronger, things like that. So it makes no sense for us to attack. Okay, so if I've got Jason here and he's attacking the junior, okay, it doesn't make much sense for him to go all the way through him here. Okay, so he's got to try to attack half man. So offset here to one side. Okay, and all we're talking about is our aiming point here. So we talk about our aiming point, we're talking about the V here, right here in the shoulder. Okay, so I'm going to get my hands nice and tight. I'm going to make almost a W here with my hands. Okay, and I'm going to punch that thing as hard as I can. So when I talk to these guys here, hold on. Okay, we talk about getting those hands in a holster here. So act like we're Old West here. Okay, I want you to go a little closer to them, a little closer to them. Okay, I want you to kind of sink your hips down onto your legs. Good. Okay, and we're going to throw those hands as hard as we can. We're going to extend those hips out. Okay, so that way it's almost like, I teach my guys, it's kind of like a hand clean here. So when I'm doing this here, hands in the holster, I'm going to punch that aiming point as hard as I can, but extend my hips. Okay, so, you for your junior here. Hit it nice and hard. Good. So there's one, then we'll go back, we'll go two. Good, come back. We'll go three, and when we do three, make sure the toes are curled up underneath. Okay, we're going to lock out our hips, so you're going to push up on your feet. Oh, so you got to be strong back here. Okay, come back up here, come back up here. Bunch, push up on your feet. Okay, stay good athletic position. So we try to work on keeping that head below his hat so our guys get used to playing really low. Then we'll just finish it off with a little rip and step right through. Good. Then we just rotate. So then the juniors come down. Okay, come on down, good. Offset. Okay, makes it really nice and pads. Good job, a little tighter junior, okay? We're ready, set, hit. Boom, come back, reset. No. Here we go, set three. Hands back in the holster, ready, say hit. Good, come back, ready. Say hit. Now you're going to try to push up on your feet. Push up. We're going to hold it right there. And then go. Grip through. Good. Next one. Good. Rotate nice and fast. Here you go, ready. Say hit. Good, come back, ready. Say hit. Good, ready. Say hit. Post. Good. Then go. Good, nice job. Then we'll progress into a swipe. And then we'll progress into just a push-pull. Okay, so it's a really quick, easy thing. We do that in pre-practice every single day. Okay, they just know they get out there, they get their hand work in with that nice, easy drill right there. Okay, next thing that we do is we work a lot on our pass rush technique. Okay, so when we're doing our pass rush technique, okay, we try to introduce. Okay, really we'll do 90% of the time 2 basic hand moves here. Okay, and we talk about what we call a sickle. Okay, so we'll sickle to a rip and we'll sickle to a swipe. Okay, the big thing with this, if you can stand right here for me. Okay, the big thing with this when I do my sickle, okay, a lot of times when people try to teach rips, they'll teach to slap the hands across and they'll come. Okay, the big problem with that is I don't have enough surface area on my hand here to actually, I have seen very few kids who are skilled enough to hit a hand and then go. But if I turn it into a sickle, so I hold that forearm straight up and down, and then I step, now I give myself a little bit of wiggle room there in case I'm not quite as skilled. Okay, so we do this, just about every other day too, where we're just going to have one guy flash his hands out to the pass rush. We just sickle, step to it, then we rip. Okay, the other really big thing that people don't think about when we're going to do pass rush moves here is we need to get skinny through these gaps here. Okay, so if I'm an interior lineman, I'm a nose guard, I'm a 3-tech, something like that, I'm trying to fit between two dudes, okay? It's going to make no sense for me to try to hit a sickle rip and stay nice and big. Okay, I'm just going to get pushed, I'm not going to get it. Okay, so when we're doing this here, as soon as I sickle, I'm going to flip my hips. Okay, so he's going to flash his hips, boom, I'm flipping my hips so I can get skinny, and then I can step big through that rip right onto his heel here. Okay. The other big thing that we talked about with this, okay, I mentioned stepping on that heel. If anybody does a pass pro, and I step, I rip, pass pro. Kick back. Towards you, like you're trying to pass ball. Boom, I got him beat. If I can step right behind that foot right there, I've got that guy beat. Okay, if I don't take a big step there, and I come here, and I don't take a big step, and see pass sets here, then I have to go do another move, another move, another move, another move. Okay, so the big thing we have here, we're going to swipe, okay, with this sickle here. We're going to hit this sickle across. I'm going to flip my hips, and I'm going to step on that heel as I rip through. Okay, so we just do that here. Just in a series, we'll do the same thing. We'll do a set of 3. Boom, 1, come back, boom, 2, come back, boom, 3. Then we'll try to work on our angle to collapse the pocket on that quarter. Okay, so go ahead and try it here. Going up here, step up. Okay, hands. Go ahead and hold your hands in the holster real quick. Okay, now what we'll do is make sure you have this upright right here, just like it's, you know, it's called sickle. You ever seen Grim Reaper? Okay, he's got this big knife there, right? It's a sickle, same thing. So I got this sickle coming straight across. Okay, so go ahead and step with that right foot as you sickle, so throw the hands. Step, good. And then as we rip, you're going to try to step right behind this heel. Try to get. Through here. He's going to throw his hands, step that right. Good. Boom. Right there. Good. Good. Try it. Easy. Go. Boom. Good. Now, you were behind the foot. What was the other first thing? Flip the hips, right? Okay, you want to make yourself skinny, Phil. Try to get. So you're here to throw the hands. So remember, when I'm sickling, I'm here, I'm sickling. Sickle, flip the hips, good. Now step through, very good. Nice job, awesome. Go, Jason, try it. Good, throw the hands. Good. Now, what do we forget? Flip the hips, try again. Boom, flip the hips, good. Step on the heel. Awesome, nice job. Okay, so that's our first one. We got sickle rip, then we got sickle swipe. Okay, so sickle swipe. Now, we always talk about when we swipe, too many times our kids are undisciplined. They want to do this big old swim move thing right here. Okay? I tell those offensive line dudes, if he's doing this, break his ribs. Okay, just punch him right in the ribs. They'll stop doing that real quick. Okay? So I kind of talk about giving this swipe, and then I've got to act like my arm here and my elbow is attached directly to my side. So I've got kind of like a little nub. Okay, so as I sickle here, I'm sickling, then I'm keeping this little nub right here nice and tight, and swiping down on that side. So I'm going to turn you so I can see this a little better. Okay, so I'm going to sickle here. Okay, and I'm going to swipe this down nice and tight as I step through. Okay, so again, real easy. These steps, boom, boom, right here. Again, these steps, boom, boom, right here. Okay, and that third one, I'll come here, right over the top, and I can work on my angle to that quarterback here. Okay, go ahead, Jimmy, let's try it here. See how it goes. So we got sickle, do a swipe. So sickle, swipe. Good. Keep that thing nice and tight. So I'm coming down in a circle. So we'll do it again. I'm going to come here and circle that thing down. Okay. Good. Sickle, swipe. Good. Nice job. Big step. Good. Go ahead. Make sure you flip those hips. Flip those hips. Sickle, swipe. Good. Go ahead, Jason. Hop up there. Good. Sickle. Not that really. Swipe this thing. Swipe that. Sickle. Good. Swipe it. Come on. Good. Sickle. Swipe. Not that good. Okay. So we've got sickle rip, sickle swipe. Then I have my guys get creative. Okay. So this is a fun one. Okay. And I always tell my kids this might be illegal, but I say, hey, I'll give you $10 if I see you hit this in a game. Okay, so we've got what we call the snake here. Okay, so he comes up, and it's essentially a chop rip. Okay, but as we're doing this here, as I'm chopping down, I'm going to come underneath the elbow, the other one, and cut right through. Okay, so again, the big thing that I'm teaching my guys here is their eyes. Okay, because how many high school kids, okay, think about you guys playing here, how many times, and I had this terrible habit myself. When I would strike and engage, I'd start looking for the ball. Okay, when the ball snapped, I start looking for the ball. So I'm teaching my defensive line guys, okay, as soon as that ball snapped, I'm engaging, I'm looking right at that dude's hips right here. Okay, so as soon as I'm coming here, I see those hands, I can start to attack those things. Okay, so the snake, I'm snaking down, up, and through. Okay, go ahead and try it here. Just go slow. Go slow, down, up, and with both hands. Good, good, good. So you go down with the first, up with both. Okay. Boom, down, up and both. Good, not bad, not bad. Good, down, up. Good, good, not bad, not bad, not bad. Good, 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 good. Jason, try it. Down, up. Make sure we take that sort of key here. If he's trying to pass that on me. This is another skill that translates. If somebody locks you out, boom, hit those hands up. Okay? Nobody has any pressure here. Okay? If he's here, okay, it's really hard to push on people like this because they bench press all the time, things like that. Okay? People don't do enough lat pull down, so when he comes here, boom, they're pretty weak like that. They're not nearly as strong coming down as they are forward. So go ahead and try that real quick. Okay, remember, come under the elbow. Okay. Boom. Hey, not bad. I like it. I like it. Perfect. Okay, so those are some really, really easy ways to just kind of train the eyes, okay, for your defensive line. Okay, so any questions on those? Those are real quick, easy. Okay, we do those every single day, okay, as we do those. Okay, next thing we're going to talk about here is the inside linebacker progression that we do almost every single day too. Okay, so I'm a big fan of trash cans. I always look like an idiot carrying my big trash cans out to the field every day with me. But they work really, really well because you get good spacing, similar to like you would with an offensive line. Okay? So, go ahead and just hop into those. Go hop it in, hop it in. Okay? So if you think about our calls and stuff like that I just talked about on the PowerPoint, when I do this as an inside linebacker, what I'm worried about is I'm worried about open and closed windows. Okay, so if I've got a fire call and it's strong right, so that means that the outside linebacker's coming, go ahead and step into that gap and hold there. Step and hold and stay there. Okay, so now, as I'm looking at all these windows right here, okay, I can determine what's open and what's closed here. Okay, so now as I'm sitting here as an inside linebacker, okay, I know what's closed, what's open. As soon as I see flow, my rule is to attack the next gap towards that flow that's open. Okay, so if I'm an inside backer, I see they're running zone to the offense's left, I'm just going to hit a quick read step, I'm going to attack downhill right through this gap. Okay, so what we'll end up doing here is I'll have, these windows here, and I'll just put something like a tennis ball, or if I don't like using people because that's not the most efficient use of resources, just have kids stand there. But I'll just have to put something in there to simulate a closed window, and then I just get those kids really good at reading flow, training their eyes, and trying to hit next open window. So if these windows are closed right here, I see flow here to my left, the offense is right, okay, I know I've got to attack downhill into this next open window right here. This inside linebacker's going to hit here. And then the really, really big one is whoever your edge player is here, you have to teach them to be really good at folding back for cutback. Okay, so if that's my safety rolling down, and they see flow away, they just come here, wait for cutback. If that's an outside linebacker, it's not blitzing. He's here, he just kind of settles back for cutback. Okay, then you've got all your gaps maintained. Okay, so we'll do that with every single blitz that we do. Just to make sure our guys understand what's going to be open and what's going to be closed. Real easy one there. Okay. What other questions do you guys have? Yeah. you have any questions about the drills that we do, and I'll show whatever drill for whatever you want. I hate talking too much, so I don't like that.
When you fire linebackers, do you ever use your defensive lineman to grab and pull?
Not too often, okay? And part of that is because I play defensive line and I like to make those too. So I feel weird making them be shields. But what we find out here is that if you teach a kid to be really, really good with their hands, okay? So if I'm a center, I'm a nose guard and I've got a center right here, okay? And I'm really, really good with my hands. So I step to my gap and I can plant and drive, then it's doing the same kind of thing. Okay, so if I can do that really, really well, then you naturally have those picks. Now, there was a couple interesting things they talked about at Glacier last year just a couple weeks ago about using your linebackers as picks, and I might experiment with that a little bit this year. But as far as defensive linemen, I'll tell you, when I was in college, I played a two-gap nose guard for a couple seasons. Freaking hard. It is really hard to do. Okay, it's really, really hard to have a nose guard that you can trust to get into somebody, okay, and then be able to play into that accurately. So if you had somebody that you could go through fall camp and spring ball and that kind of stuff, yeah, you can really teach that. But I think it's really, really simple just to work on step hands right away, and then they have to defend you. So if you think back to, again, personnel-wise, things like that, if you have a butt-kicking nose here, okay, then that forces them to have to double-team him every play, and you've got bigger gaps to work. So I think a lot of times people think about, ends are great to have. Ends are great athletic people to have. But man, if you have somebody who's constantly bowing back that offensive line every play, it just messes all sorts of stuff. Awesome. What other questions? Talk really fast.
I noticed you didn't show a lot. When your film didn't show a lot of you came from your stance. Is that?
Or what mean?
When you showed on your film, you didn't show your blitzes. Like we line up in the gaps. We show we don't show. We stand up there. We've done much more.
Okay, so we've done a little bit with that. And so we have a couple different calls that we call in with it. Okay, so we can do, like if I'm going to do Zorro, Blaze, Bronco, we can tag it with shift. Okay, so that they know as they start the cadence, we're going to shift into our blitz. Okay, so that everybody knows they're going to come. The default is just to hide it. Okay, and then every once in a while, I'll tell them what to shift from. Okay, so then we can go game plan this week. Hey, every time I call Zorro Blast, we're just going to shift down to that bear front right before the play again. Or we're going to start in a bear front, then we'll shift to whatever we're doing and go just based off the game plan. The other thing that we kind of tweaked with a little bit, I thought it was pretty effective, is we would go swipe a lot. Okay, so that would be our Sam linebacker would walk up and play a 3. Okay, now talk about asking kids to do really hard things, and it's really hard to do, so we didn't do it very often. Mostly in pass rush situations, but then all of a sudden, what are they going to do as offensive line? They say, hey, that's the dude that's blitzing. This team blitzes all the time, that's the dude that's blitzing. So if you have him default line up like that, maybe that's not his role. Maybe now he's just going to drop. We can run all of our calls from there. But that just tells our guys that way to line up and stuff like that. So I'm not a huge fan of showing because I feel like I had a few kids. So when you have kids that aren't very football savvy, that's what their default is. Their default is to, I got a blitz B gap, so I'm going to come up here and I'm going to go. But then what everybody in the world sees is, oh, well, here's the blitz. Make sure you pick that up. All that kind of stuff they get you to communicate. So I've always had a lot better success if we're doing this X. So go ahead and come here real quick. If he's coming out, I've always had a lot better success with the dude hanging out back here and then coming down the line late and being able to come through here because he doesn't get picked up. Yeah, I had one outside linebacker last year who just, it was his first game plan. We had to move him because some kids got hurt. But he was trying to do the X, and he just goes like this, lines up right here before the snap. And it's like, well, he just doesn't. I haven't been. The other big thing I think is kind of interesting to do, try to keep your rules as consistent as possible with your kids. So like I talked about, we play a Zorro front, we play stack front, we have over, we have under, we went with that swipe a little bit. So we've had 6, 7 fronts, but none of their keys change. Okay, so if I'm an inside linebacker and I'm normally here in Zorro, okay, well now I'm coming right here in stack. Okay, I'm still going to make the same keys here. I'm still going to read the guards. I'm still going to read guard to back. I'm still going to do that kind of stuff. Because what I've found out is, the more you overload kids, give them specific rules, things like that, the more they forget. So then, that's something that I found has helped. That's why, partially, in the past, what we did prior to last year is in our stack. Sorry, inside linebackers, one would be the mic, one would be a stack, and then our outside linebacker would shoot. Okay. Instead, I kept these 2 inside linebackers last year the same, so they have the same reads. And I just brought our most athletic dude, put him right in the middle, and said run around and make tackles. And then that just let him have freedom to just run around and make tackles. It seemed to benefit us. So, like I was talking about in there, man, if you have kids that are good at something, find them a role that really focuses on that. So if I have a kid that's a really, really good pass rusher and fast and savvy, he might not look very good out here at $150, something like that. But if he's really good at it, man, our best dude 2 years ago was 5'9", 160 pounds, outside linebacker. And he just flew around and made plays. That's the kid that had 22 tackles for loss. And he just kind of fled. To me, prior to being at the high school level, I was a GA at Truman State, at the D2 level. And so, when you think about the college, everybody's looking for a prototype somewhere. So sometimes I still get in that bad habit of, hey, that dude looks like an inside linebacker. Let's put him an inside linebacker. Maybe he's not very good. So don't force that square peg in that round hole, anything like that. Figure out what your kids are good at and tailor what you're doing around that. So. Anything else? Okay. All right. One thing I would say, our defensive line coach does a really, really, really good job, and I think it's kind of funny because he always has all these toys that he busts out for practice. And I just think it's hilarious because, give me some trash cans and we'll work on key reads and stuff like that. But the more toys and interesting things you can do to help these kids be excited about practice and things like that. Sometimes, a bad habit that I can potentially get into, whether it's football or wrestling, is just, I know these skills are really important, so we can drill them every single day. But maybe I should think of a different way to drill that same skill. That way it's fresh to the kids, it's exciting for them, things like that. So our D-line coach busts out tennis balls. He does tennis ball get-offs with them. He does tennis ball drills where they get out of their line, the tennis ball's their aiming point, it moves, they have to move it with it, catch it, that kind of stuff. They'll take out, the hoops, they'll do hoops, they'll hit them with bags, things like that, simulated blockers, and kids just love it. Kids get a kick out of it. I think it's really, really good. Another thing that we've done, I think it's really helped us the past couple of years. We've been top whatever 10 or whatever in turnovers, that kind of stuff too. So we drill those every single day. So as we talk about our practice format, we have a warm-up, and then as a defense, the very first thing we do every single day is either a tackle circuit or a turnover circuit. And we just alternate that every single day. Every kid that plays defense comes and do that. We just split it up. I take a drill, our DB coach takes a drill, D-line coach takes a drill. We try to make it as fun, as interesting for kids as we can. But it's just a real good, easy way to get up-tempo right away. Some really easy drills to put in there. You can just try to do 4 strip drills. So if we've got a ball carrier right here, go ahead, Junior, go ahead and step back there. Go ahead and step up right by this cone right here. Okay. So we'll just set these kids apart. We'll set a kid up on the throne, ball carrier, throne. Right here, go ahead and face them. Okay, so we have one person here who's going to secure the tackle. Okay, so he's the ball carrier. Okay, so you're going to secure the tackle. Okay, and then you're going to try to punch the ball out. Okay, so we're going to have the ball carrier come over, come over, come over. Boom, secure the tackle, wrap, run. Okay, the next guy in has to come in, try to knock that thing out. So you got to come out, boom, punch it, hit it, anything like that. We've seen, you know, people at clinics this last week been talking about, you know, grading that, awards for punches and stuff like that during practice and games and things like that. I think that's awesome. Anything you can do to emphasize that a little bit more. As weird as it is, we practice all those ball drills and stuff like that with our defensive linemen. So they do tip drill, they do high point drill, they do anything like that. Because my worst nightmare as a defensive lineman was to finally have that ball tipped in the air and then drop it. That would have been the worst thing that would have haunted me for years. Okay? So I want my kids to be prepared if that scenario ever comes. So they'll do tip drill, they'll do ball punch out. Really, really good one we like is sideline recover. The kids love this. I'm going to act like this is a ball right here. We get 2 lines, so go ahead and line up right here on this cone, please. It's there. You line up on this cone right here, please. Okay, go ahead and face that way. Perfect. Okay, so we got sideline recover, so I'll take a ball. Okay, they'll take off going. We got 2 dudes going at the same time. Okay, I've got to roll this thing. Okay, first one's got to lay out, knock it back in bounds. Second guy's got to scoop and score. And all we're training is eyes and being aware of the body. Okay, so you don't have to dive or anything, but go ahead and run out there. I just roll it, hit it back in. And it's funny because, you know, you get the defensive lineman here.